I apologize for my voice. I'm a little under the weather.
It's fine. We had karaoke last night.
Okay, that's what it is for me too. That's what it is. Hi everyone. Really nice catching up with you, Rich. He's so fun. That was sarcasm, Rich. He's not even pretending. Hi everyone.
Hi.
It's good to be back in Chicago. I went to school here. I know it doesn't seem like I went to school, but I did.
Where at?
University of Chicago in Hyde Park. Anyone else go to University of Chicago? One person? Two people? Three? God, there's so many of us. I was just in, I know where I was. I was just in Arizona doing some political work, trying to get Kamala Harris elected. And I was like getting kind of sick, and for those of you who are taking photos with me earlier, I'm sorry, there should have been a placard or something, a warning sign. It is not COVID. I tested it and it's not COVID, it's tuberculosis. So that you can know when you talk to your physician what it is that you came back from this weekend with. So I was in my hotel room, and my brother, oh my God, this is going to be a long hour, you guys. My son, not my brother. I don't know why, but my brain, my brother and my son look nothing like one another. I don't spend much time with my brother, but I always call my son Sasha, which is my brother's name, and I always call my brother West. If you want to leave now, I totally understand. So my son brother West said, he was like, Dad, we got to go to I need a Halloween costume. So we went to the Halloween costume store. Normally, I like to try to make something with the kids. This is not one of those years. It was a run-in, buy a costume. He said, oh, cool, can we get some fake blood, too? And I was like, of course. So we grabbed the fake blood, and then he didn't use the fake blood, and it wound up in my backpack, and I found myself in a hotel room in Phoenix, Arizona, with nothing but fake blood. And so I thought, I'll make a scary video for Halloween. It was Halloween morning, and I was about to leave to go to the Harris rally. And I was like, well, I can squeeze this in before I go to the rally. I'll just quickly do this video. And I had this idea. I would read, I'm sorry for being political here, but whatever, I'm sorry. So I would read excerpts of Project 2025 as a scary, in a scary voice, and this would be my political message. And so I took the fake blood and I squeezed it into my hair so that as I started reading, then it would start running down my face, So it starts clean, and then it starts running down my face. So it had this little tube, it's like a giant toothpaste tube full of fake blood. And I peeled off the top, those fucking annoying little tops where you can't, it's got the safety seal on the fake blood. We don't need a safety seal. It's not like people are going to be eating the fake blood. It's not food, it's fake blood. Anyway, whatever. So I peeled it off, but it didn't come all the way off, that little seal, that little plastic seal on the top. And I was like, oh, whatever. So I squirted it into my hair, and then I start doing the video, and it goes down, and it goes in my eye, but then it's only like one stream. So I had to pause and squeeze more in my hair, and then keep recording. And then I had to do it again, and I squeezed more, and it was like, now I have to I realize, you know what, I just gotta squeeze it all out. Just squeezing it out to get it all out of my hair. I finished the video. I thought it came out quite well. It was really gross. It was in my eyes, it was in my mouth. I was spitting, it was running down off my nose into my mouth. I was spitting it out like a Leviathan. And I clicked stop on the video, and I was very pleased with myself, and I stood up, and I discovered that the plastic flap on the tube had been directing a second stream against the hotel wall and all over the drapes and onto the carpet, covering about an 8-foot arc, and there was no mistaking it. Anybody would walk into the room and say, oh, somebody was killed here. It was an unequivocal crime scene. There's no other possible explanation for what you saw. And it really looked like real blood. So then I was like, okay, so what did they do in Dexter? When you have to cover up a murder, what do? And I wound up spending the next 45 minutes trying to hide the evidence. And I left the hotel room with this little plastic bag full of hotel towels. I'm sure I'll get charged for it, but I was like, I'm not gonna leave these bloody towels behind, because then they'll know I killed somebody. Anyway, I got there late, and I was like, I missed part of the rally because I was there late, and I also didn't get my whatever VIP access, so I had to convince the guards to let me sit where they had said I could sit, but I was supposed to have an escort to take me in, and now I was like, no, do you to the guards, I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience, but I was like, you ever seen Supernatural? Trying to convince them that I was famous, but it was clear to them that I was not famous. And they weren't gonna let me in. And then finally, somebody recognized me who was like, no, I think that guy either looks like the guy or he is famous. And finally, I persuaded them to let me in. It was kind of awkward because my seat, somebody else had taken my seat, and so I sort of sat off to the side. But then Senator Mark Kelly, whom I'd spent the evening with the night before, was there, and he waved to me and then stood up and hugged me, and I was like, see, people? I am on Supernatural. It wasn't. And then at the end of the rally happened, and it was quite rousing, and Ruben Gallego, who was running for Senate in Arizona, showed up right toward the end of the rally, and he sat down right in front of me, and he came in, and he was like, hey, Misha, as he came in, and I was like, see, everybody? And then, and now all the attendants were they figured it out. Now they know that I'm kind of a big deal. So all the senators are talking to me. And so then the rally is over, and everybody's still in their seats, but we're in this little section right up front. And they're like, okay, everybody, let's go. It's time to do our special exit. And I'm like, I'm a part of the special exit now, fuckers. And so I get up with the special exit, and I'm walking, and talking to Ruben Gallego, and we go out through, and there's all of these Secret Service guys, and they escort us down back way and out back of the stadium, and there's this fleet of probably, this is not an exaggeration, probably 75 black Suburbans, all parked, lined up in rows, and someone yells, everybody get in your assigned car, stat! And all of these people scramble into their cars, and I'm not supposed to be there. And now I'm standing there, in like the middle of all these rows and all these doors are slamming on these black Suburbans. And I'm like, I don't think I have a car. Because I actually know that my Uber is out front. And 2 Secret Service guys grabbed me and pulled me, and it was sucked because they pulled me backwards. So they were basically like carrying me, but backwards, dragging me like by the heels, which was not a VIP exit. It was really embarrassing. Everybody's like looking out the windows of their black Suburbans. Who's that guy? He does not look like he was famous at all. Anyway, that's what happened. Thanks for listening. Would you like to ask a question? I could use a break from talking.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm 16, so I can't vote yet, but I know that you're very politically active. And my question was just, I was wondering if you had any advice on how to get started being involved.
Oh my God, you're 16?
Yeah.
You look like you're 25. Are you taking a lot of growth hormones? No, not that many. How to get involved? Yes, I have some advice. Inform yourself. And vet your sources of information. Learn to distinguish between real news sources and fake news sources. And I use that term discriminatingly. We have now this weird reality where we're getting news from like, you know, bearded dudes in Alabama who are sitting in their cars talking to their iPhones. We're getting our news from these sources instead of the New York Times and the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal and The Economist and all of these other journalistic institutions that actually have codes of journalistic ethics and fact-checking. And while these major media outlets are imperfect, granted, New York Times said there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and there were not, but even though they're imperfect, they are so much better than Instagram as a news source. And we have lost track of that fact, so I think it's really important to stay informed. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of voters in this election cycle, and it's really frustrating to talk to people who just don't pay any attention. The average American spends 3 minutes a month thinking about or talking about politics. They are just not engaged. So it's really hard to make an informed decision about anything you're voting on if you don't know what's going on. So stay abreast of things and try to get your friends to talk about things with you as well, like engage in conversation. That's what I would say is the first good step.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi.
Hello, I'm Haley.
Hi.
This might be a little niche and kind of a silly question, but I'm a film student and I have this theory that your favorite Spielberg film is a sort of personality test. And I wonder
That is
if you
quite niche.
had one.
Well, probably, fucking hell, I don't know.
Jurassic Park, E.T.
No, I think it's probably E.T. for me because it just was like a seminal moment in my young life. Seeing that movie, I quite loved it. He's also made some bad movies, you know. But I think E.T. was really quite good.
Thank you.
What's your favorite?
Warhorse.
What?
Warhorse. Warhorse. Like
Warhorse.
warhorse.
I could not for the life of me understand the words you were saying. I never saw Warhorse.
I recommend it. It's really
Okay, I think I'll watch it then. I saw Warhorse the play
I'm jealous.
in London. What a slog. But I look forward to seeing the film. Thank you for the recommendation.
Thank you.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. My question is, what advice do you have for aspiring actors? And a little side question, I'm a barista and I'm really curious what you're drinking.
I like tea, and so that is like, stop it. Don't bring your anti-tea prejudice into this room. Why don't you like tea? No, you have a strong opinion, obviously. What is it about tea that you don't like? It tastes like water. Say that to my face. It does not taste like water.
It tastes like water.
No, it tastes like tea.
Black coffee, that's it. I said it. I know I'm sitting next to British people. I know I'm sorry.
You love tea. And you're not even British.
I'm not British.
So
I had tea for breakfast.
what about you? What's your position?
I like tea. Too much water in it. She likes this.
Oh, you're bringing it back to the American Revolution. Well, this is, I think it's interesting to point out that I just took a random sampling here of 5 people, and you're the outlier.
Coco!
I'm not
Coco,
voting.
right now! Go home, Coco!
I love that you gave the devil horns. Someone here in the 3rd row is like, go tea. It's like, totally badass. It's like Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off a chicken or something. I'm sorry, that got super political.
It was very entertaining.
I make black tea in the morning for myself with oat milk in it, typically. I recently discovered that oat milk is basically just safflower oil masquerading as oat milk, which is really disappointing. And so now I'm having to rethink everything. And black tea is pretty gross. And it like often makes me feel a little nauseous in the morning if I haven't eaten anything with it, which I often don't. So I have this like kind of love-hate relationship with black tea. I really like green tea. But I will tell you that this is not, I will go to a cafe and I'll order an oat milk cappuccino quite commonly. So,
Fancy.
Yeah, very fancy. Very, new age, I would say. I think that the best thing to do is, I think you will have success as an artist in general if you pursue your craft with absolute devotion and you work at it regardless of the outcome. Like if you just focus on it and make doing the work your passion and your project, eventually success will come. I'm reading this book right now called The Work of Art by Adam Moss, and he interviews all of these luminaries in various different artistic fields, from dance to music to filmmaking to writing to acting, and they're all of these successful artists. The unifying theme across each discipline is that it's just about people who single-mindedly focus on the work And the lens in this book that they're taking is they're looking at specific projects, like Kushner's Angels in America, and like how he came up with the idea, early like scribblings in journals, and just the process that he went through. We have quite an echo in here, huh? Is there anything we can do about that echo? It's quite echoey. It's like that speaker back there said something long after I finished talking. And the unifying theme is that they all are just relentlessly continuing to do the work. And it's kind of inspiring to see because they're all also bumbling their way through these things. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing, but they just figure it out through the process of working it out. And I have found this book. For Christmas, I'm literally buying 15 copies of it and giving it to everyone I know, because I only know 15 people. But it's a wonderful book, and I think maybe you should pick it up too.
I will. Thank you.
The Work of Art by Adam Moss. Hi.
Hi, my name's Monica. Huge
Hi,
fan.
Monica.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. First
I like
of all,
your jeans.
thank you so much. I
Thank
was
you
very
for-
nervous wearing them.
No, you shouldn't be at all nervous. Did you make them?
No, I wish I was creative like that in that aspect. I'm not.
Oh, they look great, and I don't think you should be self-conscious about them ever again.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. You guys are so nice. By the way, thank you so much for all of your political work. I think it's super appreciated.
Thank you. I feel like I know I'm annoying about politics, and that's just the nature of me. But my feeling is this is a nonpartisan plug for using whatever platform you have to advocate for what it is that you care about. I feel like if you think that you're on the side that's making the world better, then you should advocate for that, regardless of how big your platform is. Like, what's the point of being a part of the human family if you're not trying to ever so slightly adjust the needle toward a better world? And we don't have to agree on what that is, but I think engaging in the conversation about what that is important. I don't know when it happened in our culture and society that it became like passé to talk about things of substance. But what's the point of being here if we're not talking about things of substance?
As a social worker, I 100% agree.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. So, on a lighter note, I heard that you are a big prankster, you and Jared. So I would love to hear just a behind the scenes, what was the best prank ever on the Supernatural? And I am a prankster myself, so I would love some tips.
What are some of the pranks that you pulled recently?
Oh, so I work in a school district. I have a friend that I really target. One of my best friends, TJ, and
I'm a social worker and I engage actively in hazing.
it's mutual, it's consensual, back and forth. One time, I also do CPI trainings, so I do like physical restraints, and I'm one of the trainers, so I sent him.
Can you tell me what CPI, so Certified Public Accountants is what I think of as CPA, and I didn't know that accountants engaged in bondage. Can you tell me more?
So it's the Crisis Prevention Institute. It's actually NVCI, Nonviolent Crisis Intervention. So when students get really physical and unsafe, sometimes we have to restrain them in school. So it's last resort. Always my caveat, last resort. But so he's one of my teachers that I train, and I've worked side by side with him with some of the most challenging students we've ever worked with. And we've done these trainings every year. We know it like the back of our hand. I decided to send him an official CPI letter stating that I'm so sorry you did not pass this exam. You have to take this 8-hour course all over again. And no one ever gets that. Everyone always passes. We just practice.
God, I love that.
So went around to other teachers like, did you guys get this? Like, what's happening? And everyone's like, no, that's really weird. And it had the official like seal and everything, so he was losing his mind.
Oh,
And
that's wonderful.
yeah. See? I feel like we're kindred spirits with the
that
pranks.
is a really sweet and wonderful thing.
I make up for it for like helping students and others, so it's the balance. It's all about balance.
I used to do things like that, like to get, like I would fake approvals for things all the time. Like, here's the letter, it says, you know, we're good to go. And people will look at it and be like, it's like flashing a fake badge, basically, right? I did that to go into, I wanted to film in a hospital in India, and the director of the hospital, this is a hospital that had 3,000 patients, a huge hospital, and they said, well, you need to be only people allowed in the hospital are doctors. And I was like, well, I haven't passed the medical board yet, but I will be a doctor. And I happen to have some letterhead from the University of Chicago. And so I wrote a letter from Dr. Oppenheimer at the University of Chicago, and I got in to go do some filming in the hospital with him. I used to, you know, they always have like, if you get a ticket, speeding ticket or parking ticket, I don't know if this still happens anymore, everything's online now, but back in the day, I used to get a lot of speeding tickets and a lot of parking tickets. And there was always an option to like write a letter about, or you know, if you want to explain extenuating circumstances or something like that. And I would always take the opportunity. And I got a ticket for rolling through a stop sign. I mean, come on. Who's going to stop every time at a stop sign? And I got a ticket, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So I wrote a letter, and it asked for documentation in the form. And so I wrote a letter, and I said, it was a very sunny day. I was distracted by the natural beauty around me. And I'm including some photographs that were taken 2 years, 2 months, and 4 days prior to the event in question. I think you can see that they support my case. And there were 2 photos of my brother swimming next to an iceberg. And whoever opened the mail that day must have gotten good enough of a laugh out of it that they dismissed my ticket. But I digress. I haven't told this story that many times, but this wasn't Jared related. This was the whole cast and crew getting together. So Mark Sheppard has a tendency to be a little bit competitive. He's like, who's ahead? You know, he likes to sort of jockey. And so we thought Ruth Connell got she got a contract for, I don't remember what season this was, maybe it was like season 12 or something like that, for a bunch of episodes for season 12. And we thought, oh, well, I thought, well, this would be a wonderful opportunity to really fuck with Mark. Ruth had signed a contract for a certain number of episodes for the coming season. And I think he was still working on getting a contract signed for himself. And so we rented her a Porsche. And we got her a special parking spot right next to Mark's trailer. But nobody had reserved parking spots. But Ruth got a reserved parking spot with a really nice Porsche, which obviously meant that she had a very sweet contract. And early on Supernatural, Jared and Jensen had been like doing some working out, like season 1 or something, and they had to get in shape, and they couldn't eat like they were trying not to eat like the regular sandwiches that they brought out at snack time. So they got like special like protein plates with like wrapped in tin foil that had Jared and Jensen written on them, and then the whole rest of the crew got just like the same sandwiches and soup or whatever, and same for all the other actors. But we got Ruth, and then that just got established, and then from then on, they just always got, like, Jared and Jensen had these plates. So I was like, went over to the craft services, and I was like, can you do a plate with the tinfoil with Ruth's name on it, too? And then we delivered the biggest, we got everybody involved in this, so everybody was chipping in to rent the Porsche and pay for all of these things, but we got we have these folding directors' chairs with the like chairback actors have their names on that chairs, and that's normal. Everybody, like if you've done a few episodes, you get your name on a chair. But we got Ruth just a little bit bigger of a chair, and on the chair, we placed the biggest gift basket I've ever seen from the president of Warner Brothers. So Peter Roth, like, said, it said to the card, like, cards don't do this, but we did it on the card. It was like, to Ruth Connell from Peter Roth, president of Warner Brothers. And of course, then we put Mark's chair right next to Ruth's chair, his littler chair. We did other things too, I can't remember, but it was like, it really got under his skin. It was pretty satisfying.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hi, Misha. My name is Arlie.
Hi, Arlie. I love your t-shirt. I don't know. Can you turn around and show everybody what your t-shirt is like? I don't know what it is about it. I just love it.
Yeah. My question is, so I saw you post a video holding a rat one time. I don't remember when that was. And I was wondering, what's the pet other than like a dog or cat you'd most like to own, and what you'd least like to own?
No recollection of this rat.
I swear, are you holding a mouse or a rat or something?
That makes me nervous.
I will die on this hill. I saw.
That's like a gap in my memory.
I remember it.
Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it. I saw a video of Arnold Schwarzenegger on Instagram yesterday, and he has like miniature ponies that are trying to eat off his plate like a dog in the kitchen. He has a couple of like rescued miniature ponies or something. And I thought, well, that's pretty cute. But I couldn't help but think, but they do. They're gonna be, for sure, shitting in the kitchen. And then I thought, oh, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger has plenty of staff to deal with that. So, but I don't have like live-in housekeepers, so I can't have ponies in the house. We got a pony for my daughter's, she wanted a pony for her birthday. This was like when she was 6 or something. And we were like, oh, great idea. And then my ex-wife was like, oh, this is wonderful, we got a pony. And I pictured the pony in the front yard, but the pony was in the living room. And it crawled up on the couch, and it urinated on the couch. It was awful. What's that? Well, they don't, yeah, but unless you have, actually, plastic couches and they have full-time staff. Anyway, I hope I answered your question satisfactorily.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Don't worry, you did.
I don't know. I mean, I think I probably would like to have a dog.
Other than cats.
I know you said other than cat and dog, but I don't currently have a dog, and I think I would like to have one. And I travel too much to have a dog, so it's like, feels like it would be unkind to an animal. And my daughter had a gecko, spotted leopard gecko.
I have two. I had a little bit.
You have a leopard gecko?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ours died. Really? I think ours died from neglect, honestly. Yeah.
I've
So,
always wanted a pet octopus.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Have you seen The Boys?
I've only seen the episode with Jensen.
Okay. I encourage you to watch it through because it makes a pretty strong case for having a pet. You're welcome. Hi.
So I'm going to ask you kind of a deep question.
Perfect.
Ready?
You've come to the right place.
I'm Melissa, by the way, here from Wisconsin.
Hi.
So let's talk about genies, not the type of the show, but like the regular genies, like from Aladdin.
Regular old run-of-the-mill
Yeah,
genies.
3 wishes. What would your 3 wishes be?
Is infinite wishes an option?
No, it's the same rules like from Aladdin.
You didn't say that
can't-
before, so actually,
No wishing for more wishes. No, you can't make anybody fall in love with you, and you can't bring anybody back from the dead. But anything else on the table?
this genie sucks. Can I have immortality?
Yeah, that's on the table.
I don't even know if I want that. I would love black tea that doesn't make me sick.
I'm gonna tell you, you need to switch to coconut milk. I don't know why you're drinking
Coconut milk?
coconut milk.
Are you out of your fucking mind? Gross.
No, it's so good.
No, it's... Is it really?
It's better than oat milk.
No.
Almond milk.
Oh my God, please people, I don't want to do this. No more politics, okay? I don't know. I would like to be able to get through the night without having to get up to pee.
Solid choice.
And I would love nothing more than to be able to remember the names of people that I meet. I think that would be really cool. And then, those are my first 2 wishes, and then I'd like to be able to see through clothing.
I think you probably can make that happen if you just ask.
You win this round. Thank you.
So first of all, there's nothing wrong with black tea. You gotta put some honey in it, and that's fine.
I recently discovered honey in black tea. I don't know why it took me so long. But now I'm going through honey like nobody's business. And the shit's expensive. It used to be in my house like a jar of honey would last 9 months. And now it's a week. And then I gotta get more honey. And those poor bees.
They have 1 jar though. And
That's true. I guess I should just reframe it like that. At least I'm giving bees jobs. My goal is 100% employment for bees. Yeah, okay.
So my question is, a few years ago you were on a little show called Road Food, and my friends and I are wondering, is there anything that you were given to eat that you were like, I'm really sorry, I just cannot finish this. I do not like this.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that I didn't finish. I didn't finish the cow's eye. It still gives me the chills. The show wasn't even about eating gross things. It was just about eating good things, ostensibly. But we had a really tight budget on that show and a really short timeline. Typically on a show like that, you would have producers who go ahead. They're like the advance team. They get there a couple of days ahead and they try the foods and they meet the people in person and they figure out like, oh no, this wouldn't be a good place to go or this wouldn't be a good dish to do. But we were the advance team. So we would get there and like having had talked to some people or some locals on the phone, and they're like, yeah, you should go to this place and this place, whatever. But we also didn't have enough extra material to cut things out if it didn't work out. So I had to go to these restaurants and be like, the fuck are they serving me? And they'd be like, yummy. Because we didn't have like backup things, and the show wasn't supposed to be about gross places to go. So so those, who may have watched the show, don't actually use it as a guide to where to dine, unless it looked good to you. Because there were definitely several restaurants that we went to that were gross. I've never liked tripe, and I don't know why we still have to eat it. The cow's eye was really something. I couldn't believe it. Did you see that episode?
I sure did.
Did it pop like a cherry tomato?
It was, do you guys know what barbacoa is? Most of you did not see this, I'm sure, this episode about cow's eyes. Raise your hand if you have no idea what I'm talking about. That's a good enough. Shit, raise your hand if you do know what I'm talking about. Okay, not very many people. A lot of people didn't vote. Don't sit it out. You gotta vote, okay? So barbacoa is this like old Mexican like tradition of taking the head of a cow and burying it under the hot coals of a fire and letting it like slow cook overnight. And it's no longer legal because you're burying it in the dirt. But there's this one place in Brownsville, Texas that still has a permit to do it sort of the old-fashioned pit style, the unsanitary way, basically. And it's actually in this like pit, the oil changing pit of an old gas station. And they fill it up with hot coals and then they just like throw the heads in there and they cook them overnight. And they have a sign, I don't know how to say I in Spanish. Oh. I don't know how to say, we don't have either. No tenemos ojos. On like this handwritten sign on the door. We don't have eyes. And that's because the VIP customers always snatch up the eyes first thing. They do have eyes. It's a lie, the sign. But the eyes are like such a coveted thing that they're gone the first. So basically they take the cow's head, they roast it in this pit, slow cook it, and like the cheek meat, the lips, and the tongue, and the eyes, and all these like cow head parts get slow cooked, and then it's kind of like this weird Mexican delicacy. And so the guy that owned it inherited the place from his parents, and his wife has been working there with him in the place for the last 40 years. They've been running it. And I was like, why are the eyes so popular? And she said, I don't know, people just love the eyes. And I was like, she was like, are you gonna try it? And I was like, I don't know, what do you think, are they good? And she's like, I don't know, I've never tried them. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You've never tried them. You're the purveyor of eyes and you've never tried them? So on camera, we did it together. And you have to scrape out the pupil first. What? It's not as gross as tea. Right? You have to scrape out the pupil because it's bitter. And I almost fainted when I did it. I was like, oh, this is so gross. Anyway, then you put it in a taco shell and you just eat the eye. And I don't know, I mean, I'm sure you do know, but when you bite into an eyeball, it kind of pops like a grape in your mouth. It's horrible. No, neither of us liked it. It was awful. Yeah, thank you for asking. Hi.
Hi, my name is Megan, and I'm from Minnesota.
Hi, Megan. Was that scream for you? I might be hallucinating.
Yeah, nice pond.
Who was it that screamed?
My kid, she's over here, big bear.
Misha!
Hi. Thank you for...
So my question is a little convoluted. So my husband and I, we are an Army family. We met in the Army, we had a kid, and for the past almost 20 years that it's been our entire life. And it comes with really amazing benefits. Like we spent 5 years in Germany, and the people we've met, the experiences we've had have been great. But we've also had to move a lot. Our daughter's changed schools quite a bit, and he's currently living in a different state from us. So we have repeatedly...
Your husband?
Yes. He's still on active duty, so he's in a different state right now. But we have repeatedly talked to each other about whether or not it was the right choice as parents to stay this long and to live this life, or it would have been better had we raised her with more normal life around family, where we're both home a lot more often and we're together. And I wonder if you have that with your career. Do you ever wonder if you made the right choice as a parent to do this? Or I second guess?
Well, I've thought about it a fair amount, but I think based on what you've said, you've caused irrevocable damage. And it's sad because there's no do-over and no way to fix it. Next question. No, I love to joke about childhood trauma. I think I made mistakes, but they're probably not the same mistakes that you made. I made mistakes of kind of not realizing just how fleeting childhood was, and thinking that I was in a sprint. In fact, I was in a marathon. And so I was so busy for the first 8 years of parenting that I missed out on way too much. And I am very grateful that I'm having the opportunity to pull the brakes and spend as much time as I possibly can with my kids right now. And it's been wonderful. And it sounds like you're no longer active duty?
No, I got out years ago.
So you're getting to spend time with your daughter.
Oh yeah, every day.
And your daughter probably, of course, like, wishes that you were active duty.
Nah, she's stuck with me.
She's stuck with you. You've got quite a cheerleader over there. But I think that it's like, you know, I've seen this over and over again. I repaired my relationship with my father when I was in my late 20s. Like, that's when he was quite absent from my childhood. Not totally because of all his own doing, but there's like always time to get it back together, and your husband will have that opportunity when he's done, and you'll forgive him likely. Maybe you might even forgive him for having been absent. We'll see. You're like, maybe. I think that the moving is a really challenging thing. I mean, I'd be curious to hear what your daughter says about it, but I moved constantly as a kid. We were in a different school every year, sometimes twice in a year. And so I was always the new kid, and I was always an outsider. And it's a little bit different in the military because you're going from place to place with a bunch of other kids who are also new. So that's part of like the cultural ethos. But I was like the new kid when everybody else knew each other. And that was really hard on me.
No,
But
that's what it's like for her right now, because we finally went to our retirement home. So when my husband's done, he'll move back with us. So she went from military community to a tiny town of 700 people where everyone knows each other.
Yeah, yeah, that's going to be traumatizing. Good talk. Hi.
Hi, I'm Carrie. So,
Hi, Carrie.
in the continuation of parenting questions, I love hearing stories about West and Mason, and I was wondering, as they get older, are there things that they do that you recognize and say, oh, that's exactly what I would have done, I love that, or oh, that's exactly what I would have done, and it's actually really annoying on this side of it.
My son is like a carbon copy of me in a lot of ways, and I see my sense of humor come out in him, and my total disregard for the well-being of others come out in him. And there have been many instances in recent years, like, it's so weird, I don't know why, but like in my family, I have a photo of my dad when he was in college, and I glanced at this photo and thought, I don't remember taking that picture, because we look exactly alike. And my son looks exactly like I did as a teenager, like for whatever reason, the facial structure is being passed along the patrilineal line in my family. But he just has a lot of like personality traits that I think he's picked up from me. So we have similar senses of humor, and that's kind of fun to see, and it also makes it like, as the kids get older, we're able to just like be buddies, which is fun. I'm having more fun as they get older. I don't really like little kids. I'm gonna try to get myself canceled. This one man. Wait, but what was your question?
Like, are there things that they do that look like you were, or like are things that you would have done, and you go, oh wow, that's really annoying now that I'm a parent and not a kid anymore?
Oh God, yeah. So I used to talk in accents all the time. Like I spent, no joke, I spent like 6 months when I was in high school just speaking in an Indian accent. Like, no, that is very interesting. Now I'm going to pass the tacos, please. That is... It was relentless. It was totally inappropriate. Now, of course, if I were to do that in public, it would be, again, a cancelable offense. I would never do it in public. But I would just do it all the time. And I remember my parents being like, please stop. Please stop that. It's so annoying. And I would say, what are you finding annoying? And then I switched from that. I was in a Japanese accent for several months. I was in a Russian accent for more than a year. Like, there's something wrong with me, right? But I had all of these like things that I did that I thought were hilarious, and I think were really annoying. And my son will do some of those things now. Like he uses language that is it's a private language with him and his friends, but he uses it with me when he knows that I don't understand what the fuck he's talking about. And I have to be like, yeah, okay, cool, thanks for the information. And yeah, I don't know. My daughter pinches my nipples. And she claims like it was like a little kid thing. Like I think it's like a kitten paws at its mother's breasts or try to get milk or something like that. I think my daughter, like when she was a toddler, like got into this like nipple pinching thing to like get the milk to come out, but she would do it to me as well as to her mom. And then it's sort of like with some kids, like thumb sucking, they don't quite outgrow it or something. She didn't outgrow the nipple pinching. And when she's tired, she'll like flop her hand over, and then her creepy little hand will like find its way down to my nipple, and I'll be like, stop it. And she's like, oh, sorry, Dad. And then recently she claimed, like, you know, Dad, I only still do the nipple thing because it annoys you. But I don't believe that. I think she's actually just a creep. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, get well soon. Sorry.
Thank you.
I was wondering what things
What were you asking?
I was curious if there's anything
The fuck, there's nobody back here. Seriously, there's nobody back there. That's spooky.
Get the soul!
I for sure was expecting to see Richard Spade. Like, okay, I'm sorry. They rudely.
Quite all right. Is there anything in films and TV that drive you nuts when you see them performed poorly?
You know, a lot of things. I don't really like bad acting, bad writing, bad directing. I have a couple of real peeves, and I think it's like we have what's known as the language of cinema. People use this phrase, like, oh, it's part of the language of cinema. One of them is the score, like music to tell you what your emotions should be. And unless a score is like so beautifully done, I find them usually so annoying. Like, stop telling me what I should be thinking based on the music. It's one thing if it's like, the actors are like the characters in the show are playing music in their car or something like that, or it's a montage. You need music in a montage. But a lot of times there's this score that's like, that I think is intended to fill in for bad filmmaking. It's like, well, we really didn't sell the emotion there. Terrible performance. I know what we'll do. We'll bring in the strings. I don't like bad scores. And it drives me up the fucking wall when, and this is just like something that we've accepted now when we're watching television or movies. At night, you're creeping around outside, and it's like the moon burns with the light of 1,000 suns. Like, the moon is always so bright that you can see everything perfectly. We did this on Supernatural and it made me crazy. It was like, it's night in the woods and there's fog everywhere. But you can see perfectly because there's this incredibly bright light shining down on everything. We had this thing called a condor. It's basically like a big crane. And they mounted this humongous light on it that was as bright as the sun. And it would light up the entire forest. And again, we just have scenes that are dark. We can kind of barely make each other's faces out, like in the dark. That doesn't bother you?
Oh, that bothers me.
Okay.
Number one, though, is empty coffee cups.
Oh, God. Yeah, you got a nerve with that one. You know what I really don't like also? Boxes that are filled with styrofoam. And you can tell, like, it's obviously got no weight in it, that thing that you're carrying. But empty coffee cups, that's a doozy. You know, another thing that drives me nuts, in scenes, actors like an eating scene, You know, what an actor really doesn't want to do, because they do lots of angles and different takes, typically an actor's not going to be like, chew, 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 swallow, chew, 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 swallow, because then they're going to have to repeat that over and over again, and they're going to get full. So you notice, like, it's very rare to see an actor actually chewing and swallowing something in a scene. It's usually like, they're holding the fork, they're thinking about taking a bite, and then they maybe take a little bite, but you don't actually see them swallow, because actually there's a spit bucket next to them, and they're spitting the food out. That also drives me nuts. What other things, what things annoy you when you watch movies or TV shows? Like, because you know how the things work behind the scenes. We were just talking about empty coffee cups, which is, of course,
It's
infuriating.
the worst. I hate that.
Absolutely
You
infuriating.
see someone like going like this with their coffee cup?
Yeah.
There's obviously nothing in there, and that really annoys me.
Or you see a scene where somebody gets killed, but then you see him in another movie, and you're like, they didn't die.
Rich still doesn't know how movies are made.
So annoying.
He's a little slow.
Like I mourn their loss, and then they're just up and doing something else.
Yeah. But when you saw Darth Vader in another movie, you're like, wait, I saw that.
I saw Darth Vader. That's all the characters that came to mind. Darth Vader.
Well, he's a character that died. Just following him. Same with bags, by the way. A lot of times I'll have luggage.
That's what I was just saying, like a box or something that's like
Yeah.
clearly filled with styrofoam or
Yeah.
empty altogether. Come on.
They like pick up a
Or
box.
driving.
Yeah,
Driving.
They're
Oh
going
man,
like
and
this.
they don't, and they're not looking, yeah. And they're like, me and Misha are driving, I'm like, and this character goes, it's like, look at the road!
Yeah, the steering wheel moving back and forth. We would do driving scenes in Supernatural, but we had what's called the poor man's process. But basically, we would do night driving scenes, and we would sit in the car on the studio, in the inside, right? And there'd be rain coming down, and so they were like somebody with like a spray bottle spritzing some water on the windshield, and somebody on the bumper bumping as if there's like bumps in the road coming along, and then this little like conveyor belt of lights that goes by the car, literally a conveyor belt of lights, so it looks like there's a movement of light, and then we sit in the car, we hold the steering wheel and we go, very fake looking, and then we look, we
Do that, yeah.
wait, we're not in England, we have to drive this. So, yeah, hello, Dean. Wait, Cass never drove, so you have to drive.
Hey, Cass. How you doing? It's good.
Rob, your driving looks a little risque.
That's because you've got a dirty mind.
You're like,
You're very Trump with the microphone right now.
Rob driving your car. Where are you going?
Did you happen to see Trump was at a rally just now?
Dude, that happened yesterday. I just sent the link to the band because they thought I was making it up.
This is totally apolitical, you guys. You don't have to worry about it.
Factually
But
true.
Trump is adjusting his microphone. He's like this with the microphone, and then he's like, "Oh, my, I don't know. Can you do a good Trump impression?"
No.
So then, and he's like, "How am I supposed to talk in these microphones? It's not working." I was like, and I was like, God, dude, this is like, it's meme gold, but it's not what you want in the like final stretch of the election. He's like,
No, it's really classic.
it was delightful to watch, I have to say.
Anyway, I don't know where Richard upstaged me with this joke, but anyway, that was Dean's
I saw somebody post, is he practicing for prison? Which I thought was funny. Well, again, it's a totally apolitical joke, and you don't have to, there's like half the audience is looking at me like, please, I want to see him have a heart attack once. I guess I'm talking about myself.
Nobody wants that.
Did we get to your question satisfactorily? Was that good for you?
Okay, good.
Was it good for you?
Another satisfied customer.
And you got a bit of a mime show from you guys. It's been a home run. I mean, this has been a great
work.
answer.
Yeah, you know what? I realized like we don't do enough mime anymore.
We do. It's missing mime. We need to do more mime.
You're so good at
You're
mime.
so good at mime.
Like, honestly, you are.
Thank you.
I mean, you know, it's funny that you mentioned the empty coffee cup thing, because Rob can drink a cup of coffee convincingly.
Yeah.
Without even having a cup.
Yeah, watch him go. Go, Robbie. Robin, drinking coffee. I didn't even have a coffee pot on stage. Oh my God. It's hot? That's really hot. Oh, too hot. You gotta, pull that down.
I believe that there was a lot of coffee in that. I knew what temperature the coffee was.
And I knew it in Celsius.
Yeah, and then it was black coffee too.
And then it's a fresh pot. And he filled it in his shirt. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, there's certainly going to be, as we go forward, some kind of Rob Benedict one night only in every town mime show.
No, there's no, I don't talk the whole time.
No, just mime. It's mine.
I'm going to open up for your
Mime
show.
time.
That's great. It's the Misha Collins one-person show.
3-hour special. We'll make it a 3-hour special. No intermission.
Yeah.
And we start with 2 solid hours of mime.
Yeah, Saturday night special doesn't get until 11. We're out of here at about 3 a.m.
And to think it all happened here in Chicago. This is where the city of ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, Misha Collins.